Hello everyone, Jolene here from Bookworm Adventure Girl. I hope that you are all doing well. This is where I talk about the books that I'm reading. I like to read diverse books and I highlight a lot of Canadian literature. If you are new, thank you so much for checking out my channel. Please hit subscribe and stick around. You can probably tell that I just got out of the shower. This is not what I normally do, but I put my pajamas back on. That's normal. But I wanted to start filming this video this morning, so I thought that I'd just get to it as soon as I could. Today I am going to be starting a vlog for Joy Reading June. If you haven't heard about this event, about Joy Reading June, no problem. It is basically giving us permission to read whatever we want, whatever will bring us joy. And I hope that you might do this all the time. Like that would be awesome. But sometimes I find as a booktuber, I end up having books that I have to read for content or an event or something like that. And sometimes, most often, they are books that I want to read. And sometimes they are not, at least not in that moment. So Joy Reading June was the brainchild of Alice from Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. She proposed this last year, and this is a way to remember Alice and to celebrate Alice as Alice very sadly passed away last year. And she is missed very much. And June is her birthday month. And her friends, Gemma, Jack, and Charlie, have continued this idea, which I absolutely love, this idea that Alice had of Joy Reading June. So I will link all of their channels below. Go and check them out. I'll also put the videos where they announced Joy Reading June. So, because there are some books that I will, in some ways have to read in June for different things, I decided to take a week, maybe a little bit more, but a week to do some joy reading to honor Alice, and I thought that it would be fun to take all of you along with me. So thank you for being here. So I chose to do this vlog this week because I happen to also have a few days off of work. And usually when I leave for work on a Friday, I always tell my dogs that when I get home, it will be the weekend. And I feel like they know what I'm talking about. And yesterday, which was Tuesday, when I left for work, I told them that, when I get home, it would be vacation time, and I think that they were just as excited as I was. So I am taking this time to continue settling into my new place. It's taking me forever, and I still have a lot of books to sort, so I'm sure that you will see some of that in this vlog. I obviously want to remember Alice, and the 1 year anniversary of my mom dying is also this week. So I want to take some time to just do some reflection on this past year and, spend some time remembering my mom in some specific ways, I guess. So I also want to do as much reading as I can, as long as it's fun and joyful. So I have 5 days. I don't have any set plans really. I'm just going to take it as it comes, and I have to go back to work on Monday. But I have a book event on Tuesday evening that I thought I would also include in this vlog. And then that will be hopefully that will be a nice way to kind of end the week of Joy Reading and the vlog. So over the next week, I will be vlogging what I'm reading and maybe sharing some things that just bring me joy in general, if that's cool. So, okay, so I thought I would start by sharing some of the books that are on my radar. I may get to them, I may not, but these are on my radar at the beginning of the week. So I have 2 buddy reads, and one is with Gloria from Gloria Z. Thompson. We are reading The Forgotten Garden by Kate Morton. So Gloria likes to read historical fiction, and neither of us have read Kate Morton before. And I think that Gloria has actually already started, so I will be starting soon as well. So I know that I will be giving you some kind of an update on this at some point. I am going into this read very blind. This book has been on my shelf for years, many, many years. And I don't know what it's about. I didn't even read the blurb on the back. So I'm just hoping to enjoy it. It is over 500 pages, so I'm hoping that that it will be an enjoyable 500 pages. It's quite a bit, so we'll see how it goes. And during the month of June, there is a historical fiction readathon, and Gloria is one of the hosts for that event. So I will leave a link to her channel below, as well as the video where she introduces the prompts. She talks about the prompts. She gives some recommendations for those prompts and other details for the event. So be sure to check that out if you are a fan of historical fiction. Okay, the other buddy read that I am doing is with Jack from Spread Book Joy. We will be reading Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. And this book is also, it's also over 500 pages. These are big ones. But this book is special because we are reading this together to honor Alice. And this is a book that Alice loved. She spoke very highly about it. I've only read one other Barbara Kingsolver book, which was the Poisonwood Bible, and I devoured that book. So I'm looking forward to reading more from her. And all I really know about this is that it was inspired by Dickens' David Copperfield. I was going to say David Copperhead. David Copperfield, which I also haven't read, but I've heard that you don't need to. So I'm looking forward to seeing what all of the fuss is about this book. And I hope that Alice will, in her own way, be reading in spirit with Jack and I as well. So those are the two buddy reads, which would probably be enough for a week. But of course, it's almost like when I pack for a trip. If I'm going for 2 days, I need at least 5 books, even if I never touch them. But I need 5 because you never know what kind of mood you're going to be in, right? You know what I'm talking about. Some of you, I think, might know what that's like. So I have more. So I have 2 of my most anticipated books, actually that's these ones, of 2025 that I have just received. And I will leave a link of my most anticipated books of 2025 in the description box below. I have 2 videos for that. So these 2 books are both by authors for me. I'm very excited about them. The first is More or Less Maddy by Lisa Genova. And I have loved everything she has written. This book is about a woman with bipolar disorder. And Lisa Genova, her writing has been known to make me cry. And I have a feeling that history will probably repeat itself with this one. The other most anticipated book is My Friends by Fredrik Backman. This is translated from the Swedish by Neil Smith. And this is about the story behind 3 figures in a famous painting. So my predictions, or at least my hopes, are that these are both 5-star reads for me. So if that wasn't enough, I have a couple more. These books I really want to read, and these are from the Stephen Leacock Awards. I have 2 of the 3 books that have been shortlisted. The 3rd book has been, it's been a little more difficult to get. It's been a bit of a challenge, but I'm hoping that I will be able to get my hands on it as well, so I can read it before the winner is announced, which is in a couple of weeks. I have actually already started I Hope This Finds You Well. This is by Natalie Soooo. I've only read the first couple of chapters, but it is already funny, So I think that this will be a good one and a good start for the vlog. The other Stephen Leacock Award shortlisted book is An Evening with Birdy O'Day. This is by Greg Kearney. And I talk about these books and all of the long list in a video about the Stephen Leacock Awards. So I will also link that below so you can check that out and see what the other books are too. So I think that this will be plenty to keep me going, but I do have some poetry books and some like quicker reads, some really short books that also might find their way into the vlog, depending on how I'm feeling and what happens. So we will see how things go. For now, I think I'm going to get started with The Forgotten Garden and probably continue with I Hope This Finds You Well. So I'm also hoping to get some things, and by things, I mean books, put on shelves. So I will show you some of that process as we go. For now, I will show you what the before looks like. You can see what it looks like before I even start. And then maybe at the end of the vlog, I will show you how much progress, hopefully there will be progress, how much has been made. So I will see you in a bit. Hello everyone, my pajama day is going well so far, so I thought I would do my first check-in because I'm about 100 pages into I Hope This Finds You Well by Natalie Soooo, which is probably just less than a third of the way into the book. So I'm going to start by saying that it's weird reading a book where the main character has your name. So I don't know if any of you have had this before, and if you've had this experience, but like I think if your name is Mike or John or Tom or something a little more common, then you might be more used to this. But there are not that many Jolenes that I come across in my life. So it turns out that not only does the main character in this book, not only does she have my first name, but she has my last name as well. So I was like, do I know this author? Did they steal my name? It's been a little strange. So I do remember the first book that I read where there was a character with my name. I read it in the 80s. I don't even think I was 10 years old yet. And it was called Hero at Large. I can't remember the author. I will look it up and put it in the description box so that you have the author's name, but it was based on a movie with John Ritter, who I adored at the time. And the movie was based on the book. I'm not sure which came first actually, but so maybe the book was based on the movie. I don't know. But John Ritter was in it, and that was cool. And then I read Flaming Iguanas, which was about an all-girl motorcycle trip, and it had a Jolene in it too. Anyway, so back to this book. This book, as I think I said before, is on the short list for the Stephen Leacock Award. And the award is for humor in literature, and sometimes when the books are chosen, I'm like, they were not funny, but this book starts off with a very funny premise, and if you work with people in an office, you may have had some similar thoughts to the main character, or know people like the characters in this book. So the book takes place at Jolene's office, and we learn that when she writes emails to her coworkers, she writes the email that they are going to read, which is all professional and fine. But then what she does is what she really wants to say and the things that she really feels about about these people, about her coworkers. She writes that as a postscript at the bottom of the emails, and she changes the text color to white so that no one actually knows those messages are even part of the email except for her. So then she gets caught because one time she forgets to change the text color. So she ends up having to take sensitivity training, and by this point we have met like all of the different characters, and in some ways it's kind of sad because a lot of them are mean to Jolene because she really struggles socially. So they think she's weird. Some of them think there's something wrong with her. She's strange. They don't really understand her, and they kind of leave her out of things. And Jolene is fully aware of this. There is one guy in HR that is not treating her horribly. Of course, I think that there might be a romantic relationship with them eventually. We'll see what happens in the future, but it's also a bit of a breath of fresh air to know that she's not alone and that there's at least one person. Because she's in a way being punished, by the company. They've also limited her use of the computer and internet. However, when they make these changes, something goes wrong with IT, and now Jolene actually is being CC'd on all of the emails. So she is seeing everything that people are sending, including emails about her. So I'm just at a point now where it seems she has a plan. I don't know what that plan is. So far, so good. I'm finding this to be an easy read. It's quick. And I do want to know like what happens next. So that's always, a good sign. So yeah, I will check in again once I've made some more progress with the book, but we will see how it goes from here. Hello again, everyone. So it is now Thursday. Yesterday, I showed you some of the bookshelves that are in the office, but that's not all of the books. I think I may have shown a post where I had a picture of the spare room when I first moved, and the room only had boxes in it. It was filled to capacity. There might have been like a couple of kitchen and maybe some bathroom boxes, but the majority of the boxes were books. So I had over 80 boxes of books in this move. I will show you what that looked like. I'll put a picture up. Now that room has a bed in it, but there are still some boxes of books that have been like put up against the wall. So I need to still unpack those and organize them on the shelves in the office. And some of them might end up out here as well. So I'm going to do hopefully some of that today. There are just so many books. Okay, I am just over 200 pages into I Hope This Finds You Well. I've told you about the main character having my name, but I don't think I shared that this is taking place in Calgary, which is also where the author is from as well. So it is really close to home in some ways. In the last bit that I read, we learn more about Jolene's co-workers, and it turns out that many of them have secrets as well. So there's one coworker who basically has like a meltdown, and it did have me laughing. But there are some really serious bits to this too, which is done very well. We learn about a significant loss for Jolene and how this has affected her. And some people at work are starting to see changes in her. There's a bit of a development. They feel she's actually really trying to do better in her work. And there is one person who feels like she has some kind of inside information that they can't figure out, which as a reader we know is true, but it's really interesting to see, who believes what about her. So there is also, I wouldn't say a love triangle, but there are a couple of relationships that get more complex for Jolene as well. So that part is interesting. And then we learn about secrets that her coworkers are keeping, as I said. So I'm going to check in again when I have finished the book. I think that they will eventually, all find out that she has had this inside scoop of reading everyone's emails. And so we'll see how the author brings this all together. I do have plans today to meet my aunt for brunch, so I am going out soon. I'll be heading out to go pick her up. And one of the things that brings me joy is, being together with family and friends. And one of the things that my mother loved was going out for breakfast. Her and my dad used to go out for breakfast every day before work. And I am not a morning person, but I do love some Eggs Benedict. And I often try different places to try different Eggs Benedict. So I am a bit of a foodie, as some of you know already. And I do have an Instagram account that shows a lot of the different places and restaurants and the different food that I try. So I'm behind on posting right now, but on Instagram, that account is YYC Adventure Girl if you want to follow along. But it might only be really interesting to Calgarians or Albertans or foodies, but you can check it out if you'd like. So for now, maybe what I'll do is I'll show you some of the good food that I have been eating lately. This is in the last number of months, and then I will check in later. Hello again, everyone. I have to tell you that my aunt and I had a wonderful brunch, and I found a new favorite dish at Nemo Cafe here in Calgary. I will show you a picture of it. It was so good. It was a lobster eggs Benny, and it had the hollandaise sauce, as you would expect, but it also had a sweet chili sauce that was delicious. And the combination on this was just amazing. I absolutely loved it. Plus, of course, spending time with my auntie is always good. I absolutely love her, and I'm so lucky to have her in my life. So I was happy to be able to spend some time with her this morning. So now on to my reading. I have finished I Hope This Finds You Well. And in order to not give spoilers, I will say that I am giving this a 5-star rating, and I'm kind of surprised by that because I thought, at least at first, maybe a solid 4-star, but I'm going to tell you why I'm giving it 5. First, I think that part of it is right book at the right time. It was an easy read. I didn't have to work at it, if you understand what I mean, and that was really nice. I needed something a little lighter, and yet there is a lot of depth to this book. So yes, it is a humor book. It is funny. I did laugh out loud a few times, but the book is really about loneliness and the desire to be accepted, you know, for who we are. And I think the author does a good job at tugging at the heartstrings when it comes to the deep emotions that the characters are having, especially the main character. Now, I couldn't help but feel for her. I don't think the book was perfect. You know, there were a few times that it did seem a little bit hokey. But I could totally look past that and accept it because of the character development and the empathy that the author was able to invoke in me. So a 5-star read off the bat. I'm hoping that this is a trend for this vlog. I think I'm going to start, the next book that I start is going to be The Forgotten Garden. And I want to get into that at least a little bit because I want to be able to have a discussion with Gloria about it when she's ready. So I will probably check in again tomorrow once I've read at least some of this. Happy Friday, everyone. I got to sleep in a bit. I love sleeping in. I'm just going to move you a little closer here. Maybe like about there. I don't know. So yeah, I slept in. It's like the 3rd day that I've had off and I still have the weekend. So I've really been enjoying my downtime, my staycation. My dogs are loving it too. You probably can't see. Jax is always on top of me when I'm filming. They've been getting lots of cuddles, and tonight I think we're going to order a pizza. We all love pizza. So we're excited about that too. So I mentioned yesterday that I was going to start The Forgotten Garden. So I do have that on the agenda for today. But I have started, and I'm about halfway done, An Evening with Birdy O'Day, and this is by Greg Kearney. This is the other Stephen Leacock shortlisted book that I have, and I'm really liking this so far. And it is funny. It's like the other Leacock Award book. It has some really tough stuff in it too. So it's a really good fit for Pride Month. Because this book follows the two main characters who are both queer. We meet Roland at the beginning of the book, and he's in his 70s. He's a hairstylist in Winnipeg, and he's with his partner Tony. And he finds out that the pop star Birdy O'Day is coming to town. And Tony tells him that Birdy O'Day has tickets for them, and he wants to see them. So the story then takes us to Roland and Birdy on the day that they first met as children. And it's really just this lovely coming of age story about their friendship and the love that they have for each other. Birdy, from a very young age, knows that he wants to be a pop star, and he wants to get out of Winnipeg. He wants to see the world. He wants to become famous. He always wants to be in the limelight. And from the beginning, he just seems to know that he is destined to be a star. So his home life is very difficult. There is abuse and violence. And Roland is more shy. He lives with his mother, who makes no secret about the fact that she was raped and that Roland came from that rape. And she just says it like so randomly. So this was a little strange to me, like just how she talks about it. But Roland doesn't have any shame. It's not done with shame. He has no shame around it. And it's obvious that there's just a lot of love between him and his mother. So I think, like, in fact, so far, she seems to be the one that loves these two queer boys unconditionally. There's like a real sense that she just loves them for who they are, and she's going to support them no matter what. So I love that about her. My favorite thing so far is this friendship. The two boys are very distinct, and I think they're written very well. There is a part that I just finished, which is where I stopped. And it's where the choir director at the school, he's also a psychiatrist. He's an interesting character. He's become friends with Roland's mother. And when Roland's mother has to go somewhere for a little bit, I won't give any spoilers, the choir director takes the two boys for the time that she's away. He doesn't harm them in any way, but he's weird. He kind of reminded me of Fraser Crane, like from the show Frasier, if you've ever seen that. And just how he's always trying to be above everyone or better than he is in some ways. He just has this front. And in the book, the choir director has plans for what he's going to teach these two boys, during the time that they're staying with him. And it's really awkward. It's just very awkward and strange. And it turns out that he has to come to terms with some things himself, and he does admit those things, I think just to Roland. So it just seemed kind of weird. I'm not really sure. I guess it kind of adds to the story, but I don't know. And then anyway, the mother ends up coming back so that the boys don't have to stay there any longer. So I'm halfway through. The boys are about to be 15, so we will see where it goes from here. So I think I'm going to put this aside for now to actually read a bit of The Forgotten Garden, so that I can chat with Gloria about it. So I will see you soon. Hello again, everyone. I'm hoping that this light is still okay because it's a little bit darker. You probably just saw pictures of the pizza that we ordered. I also ordered the peanut butter cheesecake. Delicious. These are both from one of the local pizza places here in my neighborhood. And when I made the move to this area, everyone who knows that I love pizza, I'm a big pizza person. They told me about this pizza place and they said it's so good, and it has become a staple. Probably every couple of weeks it feeds me for 2 to 3 days, and it's just really delicious. So I wanted to check in to say that I am 100 pages into The Forgotten Garden. After reading the first chapter or two, I had to message Gloria to say that I was basically already hooked. I was enjoying it, and I really like how Kate Morton set it up, and so I'm invested in it already. Now that I'm 100 pages in, I am even more invested. There's basically several timelines which can make or break a book for me, but I think that I've been able to keep track of who's who so far. It begins in London in 1913 when a little girl is on a ship and she's hiding. She went on the ship with a lady, but she ends up getting sidetracked with other children who are playing hide and seek. And when the ship arrives in Australia, the little girl is alone. So then the story skips ahead to Australia in 1930 when a father is going to tell his daughter, Nell, the truth. We don't know what this truth is yet. His wife had always said not to do this, but his wife has passed away, and he thinks that it's important that his daughter know the secret, basically, that they've all been keeping from her, or that him and his wife have been keeping from her. And Kate Morton has a way of kind of leave you guessing at the end of the chapters, because of course, you want to know what the secret is, and you want to know who this little girl is on the ship and who the woman is that's with her. So then the story skips around again to 2005, and we're now learning about Nell's granddaughter, whose name is Cassandra, and we learn that Nell has passed away. So then the other timeline that is introduced is in 1976, when Cassandra goes to stay with her grandmother, with Nell. And the story continues to kind of jump back and forth as we learn how, everyone is connected, and a little bit about what's going on in each of the times. So the timelines, hopefully they don't get too confusing. The little girl on the ship was Nell, and this is hard to not talk about with some spoilers, but I don't think it'll be too big. But basically, she finds out that her parents aren't her biological parents, and she attempts to find out some of her past. So after her death, Cassandra finds out that her grandmother, that Nell, has this house in England, and she is now attempting to find out what that's all about. Like, what is the connection between her grandmother and this house in England that she's like, my grandmother's never even been to England, that kind of thing. So far I am really liking this. I think Kate Morton is able to write setting and give the reader a sense of place. I love that. Like, as I'm reading, I feel like I am in the story, and I love when a writer can do that. I am definitely interested in seeing, what comes next and finding out more. So the other thing that I like is the use of fairy tales. So there's some connection to Nell, the little girl on the boat or the ship, and fairy tales, because in her suitcase she had a book of fairy tales, and part of Cassandra's search is figuring out Nell's connection to this book. So we'll see where that leads. And where I finished was a fairy tale called The Crone's Eyes. And as the reader, you can make connections between the fairy tale and then the story that, Kate Morton is writing. And so I'm really hoping that, and I don't know if there is, I didn't look, but I'm hoping that there will be more fairy tales shared like that to kind of give us glimpses of what to expect maybe. So I'm really liking it, and I'm going to check in with Gloria because I've read a lot. I didn't need to read quite that much, but I'm going to slow down and wait until I hear from her to see where we're at. So I'm not sure if I will be giving you another update on this or not. We will see how the reading goes over the next couple of days, but know that I am working on this book and enjoying it very much. So I will check in again sometime tomorrow. Hello everyone, happy Saturday. Here we are, the weekend has arrived. I made myself a hot chocolate this morning and I thought I would enjoy that while we chatted. This mug I actually got from a friend of mine whose name is also Jolene, and it comes from the Jolene's Tea House in Banff. And I've been to Banff a million times, but I have yet to actually go into this tea house. And then the hot chocolate that I'm having is also from a friend of mine, and it's delicious. So. Yes, it's quite delicious. So the weather here has been quite beautiful, temperature-wise, which has been really nice. However, the smoke from the wildfires, not so nice. And then it also means that we've been staying inside so that we can breathe, which is really unfortunate. I had thought that I might, take a ride to the mountains, go hiking a little bit, but I think that I'm going to have to wait for when the smoke clears up. So before the smoke, I had some company, and we were able to be outside a little bit during that time, and we traveled. So I will maybe show you some pictures from that. And we also went to the Saskatoon Berry Farm, which was lovely. I had never been there before and I'd heard good things. So there was a very cool turkey who put on quite a show for us. So I can show you a video that I took of him. And then maybe when the weather gets better, I will do another vlog and be able to show you, you know, some things around my neighborhood, because I have a new neighborhood to explore, and then also, you know, some explorations in the mountains. So I also want to give you an update because I finished An Evening with Birdy O'Day, and to my surprise, I gave this 5 stars. The last half of the book is when we see what happened with Roland and Birdy, because we know at the beginning that something has happened. So we start to see the distance come between them and we see the relationship change. And through all of that, Roland continues to almost have this, I don't know if obsession is the word, but that's what I'm going to use. He has this obsession with Birdy, even when he's with Tony. And I love that all of the characters in this book are flawed in some way. They all have stuff. And the way that the book ends is okay too. I was wondering how the author would bring this all together. But really, the friendship, you know, between Roland and Birdy, I absolutely loved. And the characters and the story, they remain endearing to the end. So I really liked this book. I can see why this made it into the shortlist for the Stephen Leacock Award. It is very funny. I laughed out loud a lot while reading it, even though of course it does deal with some more serious things as well. So for this next book, I heard back from Jack, and we aren't going to be starting Demon Copperhead until Monday. So I'm going to set that aside for now. And I think the next book that I pick up will be one of the ones from my most anticipated books. So I think I will probably start Lisa Genova's book, More or Less Maddy. I have loved her books, so I'm hoping that this will continue that tradition of just still loving it. So I will check in a bit later. Hello again, everyone. Okay, I started reading More or Less Maddy, and then I finished More or Less Maddy. I think this is the 3rd book of Lisa Genova's that I've read basically in one sitting. Before I talk about this book, I also received some book mail. It's always exciting. So I thought that I'd show you those books first. I received 3 books. One of them is a book that was longlisted for the Stephen Leacock Award, and it is also the July book that we chose for the Reading Across Canada book club. And if you're interested and you want to join us in the book club, there's more information about all of that in the description box below, or feel free to reach out as well. So the book is called Interesting Facts About Space by Emily Austin. And this is supposed to be quirky and funny. I love books like that. It's a story about Enid, who knows a lot about space. and her mother has died, and she is trying to reconnect with her half-siblings, but that isn't so easy. And I just hope that this will be a fun read. That's what I'm hoping. So I have other books by Emily Austen on my radar too. So if this goes well, I may pick up more by her. Let me know if you've read anything by Emily Austen. Okay, the second book that I received is the third book on the Stephen Leacock shortlist. And it is We Came From Away by Patricia Parsons. Now, this book seems to be kind of the dark horse of the three, or maybe I should say the darkest horse of the three. This is about a woman who is about to turn 100 years old, and she calls her family to Newfoundland for a road trip, and basically to celebrate her birthday, but I think there's more to it than that. But I think that this is one that needs a lot of love. It seems to be one of those Canadian books that flies under the radar. One of those books that, few people have either heard of it, either due to marketing, I don't know what it is, or other factors, right? So for instance, the other two books, I looked this up, the other two books on the list, I Hope This Finds You Well, which I read, has almost 90,000 ratings on Goodreads. So to me, that means it's reached a fair amount of people. A fair amount of people have had the opportunity to read it. An Evening with Birdy O'Day has about 100 ratings. So it's out there, but it's really not getting its footing quite yet. And there's quite a difference there. And then there's We Came From Away. It has 5 ratings on Goodreads. So it was tricky to get my hands on this. I live in Canada, and it was hard to get this book. When the long list was announced for the Leacock Award, it wasn't even available in stores. And I couldn't even order it online until a couple of days ago when I checked, and then it showed availability. So I'm hoping that's because it's on this list. But I'm hoping that this will be one of those hidden gems along with the others that people will get to see because it got some attention and recognition from being either longlisted or shortlisted. The Canadian publishing is very, very different. The third book that arrived was The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros. This is a book that I know nothing about really, except that a colleague of mine at work, Lisa, who I doubt will watch this, but she recommended it to me and said that it would make me cry. And I thought, okay, sign me up. So at first, I didn't think that I knew who this author was, but I have seen many other books by this author on BookTube. They just seem very different than this one, and they don't all seem to be my usual kind of books. But perhaps I'm wrong. The Last Letter does seem to be my kind of book. So she either writes very widely, or maybe I'd like the others. I don't know. So let me know if you have, read this author or not. What are your thoughts? So those are the 3 books that arrived in the mail. And I do want to read the last shortlisted book for the Stephen Leacock Award as soon as possible, because the winner, trying to think, I think June 21st. It's being announced on June 21st, so hopefully I can get to it before then. Okay, so let's go back to More or Less Maddy. This book was so good. Lisa Genova has a way of making you feel like you are right there with the people or right in their heads. She has done this brilliantly, I think, with Still Alice and Left Neglected and Every Note Played, and some of her other books too. She does it in this as well. And as you are reading, you are in Maddy's head. So the beginning sets up her family life, and we follow her as she begins university at NYU. Things are fairly normal, but while she's there, she feels the pressure of being a university student, and she gets pretty low. And because of this, she goes on an antidepressant. And this is where Lisa Genova's writing is so good, because we are in Maddy's head as she starts to feel better. And not only does she feel better, in fact, she feels so good. She feels like she can do anything. She has tons of energy. She's ready to take on the world. And she ends up going into a manic state. So Maddy is then diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And this diagnosis is in many ways devastating for her. Her whole world begins to unravel as she tries to figure out what this all means, for her. So we also see how the members of her family process this diagnosis and how they attempt to help. Her mother, wants to protect her, obviously. Her sister allows her to stay with her as Maddy tries to get her life back in some order, which was a huge responsibility. And as the reader, there are times like you can see what's about to happen. It's like watching a train wreck and you can't stop it, because we know the triggers. Taylor Swift is a trigger for Maddy, and you see how Maddy's mind is working and how she's thinking things through. And she even tries stand-up comedy and finds out that she's actually pretty good at it. But her family have concerns with her, being in comedy, which rightfully so, because Maddy walks a fine line of stand-up bringing her so much joy and using the talents that she finds out she has. But it also is something that can lead her into a manic episode. So what I thought was so good about this book is that it shows how mental illness affects not only the people who have it or are dealing with it, but their loved ones as well. And it showed how someone's thought process is not like someone who, doesn't have that particular mental illness. So the story wrapped up kind of neatly, but it also wasn't afraid to deal with some of the darker issues as well. And I ended up giving this a 5-star rating as well. So I seem to be on a streak of 5 stars. That is not a complaint. And I don't know if that's because I've been giving time to the books. But I think it's really because, they've also just been really good books. And I am in a time where I am enjoying them, which is nice. And I'm really happy about it. So it also does seem fitting for Joy Reading June. I'm getting a lot of joy out of it. So I will check in again tomorrow. See you then. Hello everyone. As you can see, I'm back in my pajamas again, and it probably looks like I just woke up, which is kind of true. It's already Sunday evening. I had a really bad migraine overnight, and I've actually slept most of the day today trying to get rid of it. I haven't had a migraine like this in a very long time, but I've been up for a bit now and have been functioning enough to get some things ready for tomorrow, because I have to go back to work tomorrow after having a few days off, which has been so nice. I haven't read anything today, although I have touched base with Gloria to talk about The Forgotten Garden. I am about 15, maybe 16 chapters in. I'm still really liking the book. I'm still really liking the writing, the descriptions, and the sense of place. I would say remain the number one things for me at this point. And so we're now following Cassandra? I think that's her name. Cassandra, Nell's granddaughter, while she's in England, and she's trying to track down some information about this house that her grandmother supposedly has, and then also find out, stuff about her grandmother. She's trying to find the author of the Book of Fairy Tales, which is very mysterious because it appears that there's only one copy of this book of fairy tales. So that seems a little strange to me. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but I don't know if I'll have a chance to touch base again about this book in the vlog because the week of vlogging is almost over. But Gloria and I will continue to read and to touch base. I'm hoping that we continue to enjoy the book. Like I said, I am really liking it, but you will probably have to wait until my wrap-up video to know how it all goes. So we'll see how The Forgotten Garden goes down. Okay, so I will say, I thought I would share this with you because after reading more or less Maddy, a show came up on my Netflix recommendations. And I don't know about you, like sometimes it's like it knows everything about me. But in more or less Maddy, just as a reminder, Maddy, the main character, is diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and she starts doing stand-up comedy. And of course, you know, that might not be the best situation for her with regard to her having this bipolar disorder. However, she's really good at the stand-up comedy, and it kind of helps her in many ways. So it's a really tricky thing. So anyway, so there's this show on Netflix called Group Therapy, and it's basically, I can't remember how many, probably about 6 comedians who are moderated by Neil Patrick Harris. And they all talk about mental health, mental illness, and what that's like for them as comedians. And some of them, or maybe even all of them, have some very powerful stories. They also talk about the number of comedians who have died by suicide. It was very interesting watching that after reading this book. So I will say that if you get a chance to, you know, obviously read the book or watch the movie or the show, I think it's only about an hour. If you get to do both, I highly recommend both. I always think it's very interesting how, you know, humor can be a medicine. It can help us through some really, really difficult times. I know that for me personally, I totally use humor to cope and to get through life. And sometimes I think that we look at these, you know, funny people as though they have it all together, they have it all figured out, and they're just trying to get through life like the rest of us, really. And so yeah, that was really interesting. So I think I will end here for now, for today, just because I'm not feeling my best, but I will try and touch base at some point tomorrow after work if I can. So I will see you then. Hello again, everyone. Happy Monday. I did go back to work today. I'm feeling a lot better than yesterday, and work was good. I was able to get caught up with my patients, do some things that I needed to do. I love my job and the people that I work with. So as much as I enjoyed my time off and just liked reading all the time, it's not an issue going back to work. And so I thought I would start today by sharing some book mail with you. This came in the mail today, and I think I know what it is. It's from Harbor Publishing. And they asked if I would review a couple of books, and I said yes to this one because it's from one of my favorite authors, and it's perfect for Indigenous Peoples History Month, and it also fits a prompt for the Reading Across Canada Challenge. So let's open this together, and we'll see. Hopefully it is what I think it is. If not, I will feel silly. But any book mail is good book mail. So, oh my goodness, this is beautiful. Okay. It is what I thought it was. So this is The Animal People Choose a Leader by Richard Wagamese. It's illustrated by Bridget George. They gave me the notes for it. It's, I don't know if you can see, it has this really cool texture to it. It's beautiful. So the prompt that this fits for the Reading Across Canada Challenge, oh, beautiful, is to read an author that is also a children's author. So it can be someone who only writes children's books or writes both. But look at these. This is lovely. Oops, sorry. Didn't mean to knock you over there. Oh, here's some more. I'm really looking forward to getting into this. I didn't actually know that Richard Wagamese even wrote any children's books. And I think that this was actually published because Richard Wagamese has been gone for a while. I'm not sure when the original publication date is, but this is a beautiful edition. I think it's stunning. I love the illustrations. If you can see that. So I will be talking more about this for sure. Thank you again to Harper Publishing for this. I really, really appreciate it. They have also, heads up, allowed me to do a giveaway. So if this is something that you would like, if there's either for yourself or for a child in your life that you think would appreciate this, I have a giveaway for it. So I will be doing that probably the next time I do a book haul and I talk a little bit more about it. But that's a heads up. So the publishers are willing to send a book to somebody. So thank you again to Harper Publishing. The other book that I want to talk about is Demon Copperhead. Jack and I both started this and we said that we would read 30 pages a day or 3 chapters a day. But I am already ahead of that, and I think Jack is too. This book grabbed a hold of me from the first page, and I am loving it so far. I adore Damon, the main character, who's called Demon in the book. My heart just breaks for him because he's in such a difficult situation for a young boy. His mother is a drug addict. His father has died. And the only good people so far seem to be his neighbors, the Peggotts, and their son, Matt. Damon and Matt become actually, Matt Damon, that's funny. Okay, the writing of this book is incredible. So I'll leave it aside there. I feel like every word has purpose. And I think this book is going to tear my heart out, but I am absolutely okay with that, and I am loving it. I probably won't be talking too much more about this again on this vlog since the vlog finishes tomorrow, but I am so glad that Jack and I are reading this together. I think that it's a gift that Alice has given us, and I am very appreciative of that gift. So I will definitely be talking about this in my next wrap up after we're done. So tomorrow I will be attending an event through Wordfest called The Way We Calgary'd. And it's taking place at the Central Library, which I've shown on my channel a few times because it's in my old neighborhood. And this event is a celebration of the 30th anniversary of Wordfest. And they've invited several authors with connections to Calgary to be part of this event. So I don't really know exactly what to expect because it's not like the authors aren't promoting their books. I don't believe they're doing an author signing. Like, I don't think that that's what this is about, but they are coming together to help to celebrate this 30th anniversary and to celebrate literature. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to sharing, that event with you afterwards once I see what it's all about. So for now, have a really good night and I will see you again soon. Hello everyone. This is the last day of the vlog. It's really Wednesday, but I'm going to be talking about the Wordfest event that I went to yesterday after work. It was called the Way We Calgary'd, and this was a celebration of the 30th anniversary of Wordfest. So it's a big year for Wordfest this year. And for this event, they had an exhibit that gave some of the history of Wordfest, kind of showed some of the archives over the last 30 years. And one of the things that I love most about Wordfest and these kinds of events, these festivals, I guess, is that I get to meet very interesting people. So I met the person who did all of the drawings of the authors, which I've shown before. You've seen these, in some of my other videos. I'll give you kind of an example. But I met, writers and readers and people who love reading, love Canadian literature, love literature. So now Wordfest is not just for Canadians. So if you've watched some of my Wordfest videos in the past, then you know that they have authors from all over the world, really. But last night's event was really focused on Calgary. So they had 8 people at the event. Some of them I knew, some of them were new to me, some of them I didn't know. Shelley Youngblood emceed the night. She is the CEO of Wordfest, and she does a terrific job. She's so good. They started with Tom Phillips, who I did not know, but he is a musician and singer from Calgary with a lot of connections, it seems, across the country, maybe even beyond. He started the night with a song and ended the night with a song. So he was kind of the bookend person. And then in between, each author got up and they answered the question, how do you Calgary? So Cheryl Fogo was the first author. She was also new to me, but she lives in Calgary. And she writes about Black people on the prairies. And she gave some of her family history and talked about the fact that there weren't enough stories being told of her experience. And she spoke beautifully. And now I definitely have her on my radar. And I really want to read some of her work. People were really impressed by her. Richard Harrison spoke next. Also a new to me author, but it turns out that he is a fellow colleague at the university where I teach. And when I looked up his books, I had actually marked one of his books to read. So he's come across, my path at some point and has been on my radar before. He spoke about the need to have a connection to the people who do the writing, which of course is what Wordfest does. Then Allie Bryan spoke next. I have met her before, and I have at least one, if not 2, of her books on my shelves. She's definitely on my radar, but I have yet to read anything by her, so I do need to do that. She also lives in Calgary, and she has set her books in several Calgary locations. So I was thinking that one of the things I might do is read her books and then introduce you to the places in them, like go to those places and show you. So I thought that might be fun. She's also been nominated for the Stephen Leacock Award, I think a few times. So some of her books, if not all of them, are considered humor books. So that's kind of cool. Marcello Di Cintio, I think that's how you say his name. He spoke next, and I had read his book, Driven, The Secret Lives of Taxi Drivers, when it was first longlisted for Canada Reads in 2022. And his next book is about the lives of migrant workers. So he has been a voice for, many people in Canada who don't have a voice. And I think I will definitely be paying more attention to his work, and I would like to read the newest one for sure. Teresa Wong was next, and she was incredible. She was the only author to have been born and raised in Calgary. She talked about how at one time she thought that she was kind of missing out because she only knew one place. But then she kind of shifted that thinking and talked about the importance of having knowledge of a place and stories of a place over a longer period of time. So I have seen Teresa Wong at other Wordfest events, and I do have one of her books, and you will be surprised because it's a graphic novel. It's called, what's it called? All Our Ordinary Stories. I think that's what it is. You will not be surprised that I have not yet read it, but she told her story visually by sharing her connections to Chinatown, and it was fascinating. She mapped it out and then shared how she was a part of these different places, and I loved it. And it was through her doing this that I realized each person, each of the authors was answering the question, how do you Calgary in their own unique way, in their own unique style, and they were all captivating. I was really impressed by Teresa Wong. So an author that I have read many of his books is Joshua Whitehead, and this was my first time being in the same room as him. Not that I haven't tried in the past, but I have missed him several times, but really appreciated his energy and what he brought to the table as an indigiqueer person who, has now made Calgary his home. So it was really great to see him. And then last but not least is an author that I have some connections to. I've seen him at Wordfest events. I've been at events with, mutual acquaintances, I guess I'll say. I have about probably 10 of his books on my shelves that I still haven't read. Will Ferguson. Will took a few key moments of his own Wordfest experiences over the years, and he shared some of, those anecdotes. And just overall, it was very interesting to hear from him, but from all of the authors, to hear how they interpreted, how do you Calgary? I don't know what my answer would be, but it was really, really great. So at the event, they had a table of signed first editions, and you could purchase them. And I only purchased one book, which I forgot to grab, but I'll put a picture up. But it was Nocturne on the Life and Death of My Brother by Helen Humphreys. And I want to read more of her books. I've read a few. And as you know, grief is kind of my thing, so this book seemed appropriate. So after the event, they had champagne and pizza, and people could mingle. Oh, I forgot. They also announced 6 of the authors who will be coming for the festival in October. They'll continue to announce more, but these were the first 6. So Terry O'Reilly, I don't really know at all. He's a radio personality. I think hockey fans might know him, but I guess I will find out more about him because I already have my pass, my festival pass, and I've taken that week off of work. So I am all set and looking forward to attending the festival this year. Thomas King will be promoting his book, Aliens on the Moon. I've seen Thomas King before a few times. He's always a lot of fun. Emma Donoghue will be promoting her newest book, The Paris Express. I've seen and met Emma Donoghue a few times. She's an auto-buy author for me, and I really look forward to seeing her again. The other 3 authors are authors that I have never seen before, and I'm very excited about this. So David A. Robertson is an author who has been on my radar for years. He will be promoting 52 Ways to Reconcile. And he has so many books. I have a couple of them on my shelves. I want to read all of them. So I will have to prioritize him so I have something read before the festival. Madeline Tien will be promoting her newest book, The Book of Records. This is one of my most anticipated books of the year. I can't wait to see her. I have started her other book twice now and I have yet to finish. It is not a book problem, it's a me problem. But I think that I'm going to love the book, and I can tell it's totally my thing, but I haven't been in the right headspace whenever I try it, so far. So I've put it aside until I can really focus on it and give it the time that it deserves. So hopefully I can do that and read that before the festival. Finally, the last author is an author that I've read a few of her books, and in fact, I read one this year that I spoke highly of. Miriam Toews will be promoting her new memoir, A Truce That Is Not Peace, and I cannot wait to not only read this book because it is also one of my most anticipated books of 2025, but to meet Miriam Toews for the first time. I've heard some great things about her, and I think if these 6 authors are any indication of what's to come for the festival, then it will really be a fantastic year this year, and I'm really looking forward to all of it. So everyone, this vlog just keeps getting longer and longer. I had said that I would show you how far the library has come, and how I've sorted my books. However, it has not come far enough for me to really show you the difference. I've done some, but not enough. And what I'd like to do is at the end of June, I have a few more days off again. So I would like to do another vlog. And in that vlog, I will show you an update of how much progress has been made in the library. So in the meantime, please let me know if you have read any of these books that I've talked about during the vlog. Are you participating in Joy Reading June? Have you received any book mail recently? And, are you planning on attending any book events or author festivals this year? As always, I look forward to chatting with you in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to make every day an adventure.